We've been talking about rights and wrongs and wrongdoing, and the idea of a person who does wrong, whether either by mistake or he does something malicious, should admit that he's doing something wrong. And this isn't just something like, I know the AA people say when someone's wrong they should promptly admit it. But they say they do that so that they don't have to make amends again. And that's not what we're thinking here. What we're thinking here is, why is it so important to admit you're wrong? Now, of course, to yourself, it's very important to see and acknowledge the mistake. Yeah, it gives you something to work with. But in view of others, if someone does wrong and is unwilling to admit or accept it, again, that word unrepentant comes up. Remorseless. And so we have a little difficulty because we get the impression that this person thinks that it isn't wrong or that he can get away with it. So implicitly, it sends the bad message. It distances the wrongdoer from the people. So if he wants to restore his place, well, it kind of narrows things down. It's kind of like a conduit, it narrows that conduit down to a trickle. And it's all a matter of human nature. So it's so important at the very start to say, yes, okay, I did this. And then you have to consider how you're going to address the people. One of the things that's going to be expected, if you really want to have character, is that you do something to amend the situation, if possible. It's not always possible, not always feasible. We're not asking you to put yourself in jeopardy, but by the same token, what are you going to do to amend that situation? What are you going to do to fix it? Admit guilt? Maybe you have to make amends. Maybe there's some restitution. Certainly, you're going to have to work to restore character if this wrong was done maliciously. If it's a mistake, by the very fact that you're owning and admitting the mistake and taking action, that is an expression of character. But if it was done by a real wrong, well, now fixing it is a way to regain character. And another important thing is that when you're wrong, to apologize. Because people who don't apologize, again, are acting as if others don't count. They can go around with impunity. So what? We had a relative like that. She would do some awful things, and then when they called her to task, she says, oh, but I got a problem. You have to understand that. And I don't think she realized we did understand it. And that the family held that against her. Had she at least apologized and tried to talk about it a little, acknowledged it, it would have taken off a lot of heat. But what it actually did by not apologizing just built a barrier there. Someone who wasn't always invited to the party, wasn't always invited to events, who was kept to the wayside. And I'm just using that as a practical example. An apology is important because it's a matter of taking responsibility, not only for the incident, but for its impact on others. Those who may have been harmed, and those who were witness to it. If you're leading a group of people, you did something wrong, you are going to have to admit to the whole group, just as a matter of integrity. I'm sorry I did this. I'm sorry I let you down. I'm sorry I did not uphold to the standards you expect of me. And an apology is important. And then, of course, following that, amends. Trying to fix whatever you can, and especially to fix yourself so that the problem does not happen again. Now, if it's a matter of a mistake, then you might have to do a little learning so that next time you don't make that bad decision, next time you have all the facts. But if it's a matter of you doing something wrong, you're going to have to work to make sure you're not the person who does that again. It's time for you to work on your character. Point of the exercise, when you're wrong, to admit it, to accept it, to take responsibility, and then to act responsibly afterward. To repair to restore, restitution perhaps, certainly some kind of amends, and of course an apology to restore the goodwill of others. Without the apology, goodwill does not come easily. But if you go out there to the front, take action, your character, your reputation can be assured. This is Uncle Thor wishing you a good one. I'm signing out.